Whoa, 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 cut it out. Just play something generic. No? That's better.
Lighten up, take me on your magic river. Tell me all your dreams align. Sign me up and tell me about the people that you know who are trying to feel.
Hello and welcome back to the PowerFull Show, the superior channel on YouTube that will be releasing June 5th, 2025, making all other channels obsolete. Speaking of obsolete, later this week, the Nintendo Switch 2 will be releasing, making its predecessor irrelevant. This morning, when I opened my YouTube as always, I saw that nearly everyone was making a video on the new Switch, and it was truly heartbreaking to see that after 8 years, everyone just neglected this console at the drop of a hat, and the second an improvement came along. So I decided to do what was right, by saying one last goodbye to the Nintendo Switch. But just as I was about to start looking at the console, I got thinking, scary I know, how did such a strange console come to be? I needed answers, so I went to the only place I knew I could find those answers, Japan. But then it turns out flights to Japan are upwards of $1,000, and I don't really have that kind of money, so I went to the next best place. Wikipedia. The year was 2012. Nintendo had just released their next big console, the successor to their best-selling console, the Wii, and it was called the Wii U. You can see what they did there? The Wii U was an immediate success. Everyone loved it. There was no confusion in advertising, and everyone knew that it was a full console and not just one controller. It had lots of third-party support that didn't drop off after a year, and it was well respected by everyone up until its eventual retirement in 2007. Oh god, I was dreaming again. Nintendo was desperate for their next console, so they began working on the Switch almost immediately when the Wii U's sales began to rapidly decline. Wikipedia states that the Nintendo team recognized that their next console would have to be the successor to both the 3DS and the Wii U, while also saving them from exiting the home console market. The reason I say home console is because the 3DS, despite selling not nearly as much as the parent console, the DS, it was still selling fairly well, unlike the Wii U, which was only bought as literal firewood. Sidebar, after looking it up, the Wii U isn't wholly flammable, but in its individual components they would be, so they'd be keeping a family warm for the last few seconds of their life because it'd most likely explode. Well, most of the parts would. So, don't set your Wii U's on fire. The few remaining dedicated Nintendo fans eagerly awaited the release of the Nintendo NX, which was the codename for the Nintendo Switch. 2016 gave the fans the reveal of the Nintendo Switch, with a March 3rd release date in 2017. After years in development, the console was finally released, opening with an amazing lineup of first and third-party games. Looking back on it, I don't understand how Nintendo convinced any other companies to support their console after the Wii U's train wreck. There aren't any games included in the box, ending the prior tradition, but they had 2 first-day launch titles, those being Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and 1-2 Switch. Some believe that 1-2-Switch should have been included with the console, but others say it was so bad it would have ruined people's perception of the said console. 5 other third-party games were available upon release, some other smaller titles being released the following months, until the next big game was released, on April that same year. LEGO City Undercover entered the Switch's lineup, and this is probably not what you were expecting me to say when I said big game. It was initially a Wii U exclusive, but it then got ported to literally every other console. Later that month, an underrated gem, Mario Kart 8, drove onto the console with an added deluxe in its title. Once again, there were more small games released before June gave us ARMS, a widely forgotten game that I remember being pretty fun when I played it like 2 years ago. July gave us Splatoon 2, and August gave us Mario plus Rabbids, as well as Minecraft Story Mode, releasing before the base Minecraft? I'm sorry, what? We got some other fun ports and releases before being graced with the release of Mario Odyssey to round off the year. This lineup of games only got better, leading to the console we have today. And that's it for the console, so...
Rorey, thank you again for selling me your Switch. I know you loved that thing, and I understand the inflated price, and it was probably worth... Wait, what's on your screen?
Oh, wait, it's not what it looks like.
Switch 2?
No, wait,
You scared son of a...
So after a long conversation where Jerry mainly spoke with his fists, I was given a day to prove that this console is just as good as its successor. This is gonna be hard. I think the best way to do this is by starting by looking at the console itself. So, I think let's just get right into it. The console was probably the perfect and most logical step for the company, as it combines the 2 markets it was formerly dominating into one pristine console. The Switch's gimmick, if that's what you can even call it, is that you can play both on TV and on the go, which is genius, in both my opinion and the opinion of 152.12 million people who also bought the console. Keying into the TV mode, or docked mode as it's called, involves placing the silly thing into its dock, and bibbidi-bobbidi-boo, wire here, wire there, your game is now playing on your TV or any screen you can plug it into. Unfortunately, this mode is really taxing on your console as it heats up really quickly, and the fans just pick up speed so fast this thing could take a flight. A fact I mention literally in every recording. The longer you play and have the console on, the faster the fans fan, I guess? The hotter the console gets, the slower the games will run, which is a slight inconvenience, though that's just one mode. Handheld mode is the second, and more widely used form of the Switch. This mode allows you to play the console on the go, which is what most people bought the console to do. This mode is great, as it allows you to go from your lounge room at home to a public bathroom in a McDonald's without needing to hop off Fortnite with the boys. Okay, I'm pushing. There are 5 guys on me. Darn, they knocked me. Guys, res me. Oh, what was that? The guy next to me flushed. Oh, what? Sir, you need to leave. The transition between TV and handheld is seamless, though the fans do persist, meaning they come with you everywhere you go. The only downside about the console is that its perception as a weak little baby console for weak little babies with its weak baby hardware. The quote-unquote weak baby hardware leads to most devs being unable to release their visually stunning masterpieces the same day or at all on the console. I don't think its perception is going to change anytime soon, even with the Switch 2, as it still pales in comparison to the PS5 and Xbox mini fridge. Though, despite its flaws, the console is still one of the best from Nintendo, and I would say is the best handheld on the market. The Steam Deck is a rip-off of the Switch, and I don't like it, so you know what, sue me! I'm being told by my lawyers to make it clear that that comment was a joke, and I don't actually want you to sue me. Well, actually, thinking about it, my lawyer is a stuffed bear who doesn't actually talk, so, you know what? With the console itself looked at, and the time to grow Jerry run growing ever shorter, I think it's time we look into the Switch's library of games, so I think we should look at the... With more than 12,200 games currently on the Nintendo Switch, it's hard to decide which should make the top 5. I could go from article to article, finding which games are unanimously voted the best amongst everything, but that would take a long time and just sounds boring. Or I could see which are the best-selling Switch games and just choose the top 5 from there, which is somewhat reliable in determining which games are best, and it's much quicker, so I'm gonna do that one. With the top 5 games selected, it's time to give that library one more send-off. The first is... Mario Kart 8! Mario Kart 8 was released almost a decade ago on the Wii U, leading to fans going absolutely crazy about World. Mario Kart 8 is just one of the many games that was ported directly from the Wii U for the Switch's launch, and it isn't the only one of those games on this list. The game donned the deluxe status and came free with all the DLC tracks and races that the last game had for pay. Speaking of DLC, this game had its own waves of DLC that almost doubled the amount of content that was previously in the game. The game is best enjoyed with friends or co-op, though it does have a time trial single player mode, and a reward for beating the entire game, that being Golden Mario. Despite my years of playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I've never actually got Golden Mario, as presented here, and I guess everywhere. And also because you need to play 200cc to do it, which I don't do. I favour 150cc, which is what God naturally intended. And I thought for this video, maybe I'd try and attempt to do it, but this is a really difficult task, as I need to try and learn how to actually race in 200cc, despite my 150cc bias. And 150cc is relatively fast. 200cc is impossible to control. But not only do I need to race 200cc, I need to do it with every single track. Thankfully, I only mean every track in the base game, because if I did DLC, that would take so much longer. But that is a shame, as I believe the DLC tracks are some of the best. Sydney Sprint, my goat, and Waluigi Pinball is mwah. Mario Kart 8 didn't give you all the tracks off the bat. That's what previous Mario Kart games have done. So you had a reason to play the game by yourself, so you could go unlock them all by racing through and getting first place. Unfortunately, 8 Deluxe doesn't do this, as you have everything off the bat, with the only unlockable being actually Golden Mario. As I stated earlier, the challenge to get Golden Mario is just really hard, so I gave up immediately as I ran into 48 walls in the entire first Grand Prix, and ran off a whopping 18 times in the last 2 tracks alone, so I decided to pivot my goal to something significantly easier but still fairly difficult, and that is get first place in at least one race. And I don't mean the Grand Prix, I mean in one race, because that's difficult on its own. I was not good at 200cc. The first Grand Prix was a train wreck, as neither Yoshi or I were prepared for such speeds. On the first track I only came second, and that is the easiest and first track, but by the end of the Grand Prix I really fallen off, and I had ended up in 11th for Thwomp Ruins. My place totaled out as a 4 at the end of the Grand Prix, but that was still enough to make me reconsider my options. I had initially chosen Yoshi because he was my main, and I play against him every time I play against my friends. But unfortunately his stats aren't perfect by any means, so that made me reconsider whether I should play as him. When looking back at the bloodbath that was Thwomp Ruins, I knew I needed to change something, and I saw that I was flying all over the place, so I knew this time I had to focus on stats, specifically handling, because I was barely on that track. With lots of consideration, finally Bowser drove up to Baby Park on Mr. Scooty. Bowser was subbed in because of his position in the heavyweight class, which I remembered was a very popular class among the competitive players. Mr. Scooty was there because he had good stats, and also it kinda just looked funny with the big guy in the little cart. With my new combo, I blazed ahead in Baby Park, but as they say, what Baby Park giveth, Baby Park taketh away. See, I hate this game. In Cheeseland I suffered greatly as I kept failing shortcuts, running into walls, missing item boxes, and getting hit by CPUs who stole my freaking item boxes, all keeping me in 7th. With one successful shortcut and a star, I plunged my way into... I'll take 5th. Genuinely, I'll take 5th. 5th all the way, I'll be happy. I looked on the bright side and I was trying to stay positive. Hey, at least I was being consistent. 2nd, I'll take that. That's the best I've been in the entire game. 5th, consistency, consistency. Oh wait, never mind, back into 5th. But that 2nd place was an improvement. It showed me that I can still do this. Finally, I had hope. And I had a consistent overall 4th place, which is kinda weird. What are the odds? This time I ignored the stats, as I knew it would be my last race, first place or not. So I decided I'd have some fun with it. Returning to the first Grand Prix with Homer Simpson in a Bowser outfit on the Wiggler car, I knew this time would be different. Despite my wall-hitting tendencies, I managed to maintain 3rd place throughout the entire race, until we got to the 3rd lap, when I managed to fall all the way back down to 7th, and I stayed there until 7th. But that didn't keep me down. I didn't let my first 7th place keep me down, so I kept going. I pushed forward, and I made it into 6th. Sweet Sweet Canyon was ready for my sweet sweet demise, and nothing was going to change. The first few laps were the exact same. I fell off twice, and I fell into 9th. Though I pushed my way into 1st place, with immaculate drifting and well-timed item usage, I made it all the way to 1st, where I hit my head on a wall as 2 racers zoomed past me. Moving on to Thwomp Ruin, and my hope still wasn't crushed, though it should have been, as I rolled slowly into a 7th place again. I was fed up with this game at this point, just trying to skip through the— wait, what? Wait, what? I came first? We take those. You know, that's a win. That's all I need. I was aiming for Golden Mario, but 1st place. That's it. That's all I need. I'm done. I'm retiring. Hanging up the helmet, I guess? But yeah, 4th place overall. Oh my. The game is all around well crafted, making it the definitive Mario Kart experience not only on Switch. It has great couch co-op, which in my opinion makes or breaks a game, as I love playing games with my brother. Unfortunately, he doesn't share that same passion, meaning that every time I want him to play Mario Kart with me, it ends up having higher stakes than a hostage negotiation. The game offers a vast array of characters and tracks, not including the DLC, and with including the DLC, it's even more. The best track in the game is Moo Meadows. Moving on. Wait, I hear you saying, why is it the best track? And to that I say, no further questions. If you do have any questions, just put them right in there, and I'll get back to you in 5 to 2 years. Overall, the game is great, though it is directly ported from the Wii U, meaning it did come out sooner, and that's probably how it was managed to sell the most copies and got this place on this list. Though, despite that, I feel there could not have been a better game to go here. The amount of options means that everyone has a chance to enjoy it. Though the fact that everything is available out the gate, well, nearly everything is available out the gate, does kind of ruin the experience for single player, as the only point playing it by yourself is to get Golden Mario, and there's already Metal Mario and Pink Gold Peach, and neither of them are that great. Despite the final criticism, I don't think a better game could have been here, as it deserved the #1 spot. So, with the race over, it's time to go on vacation too. If you don't already know what Animal Crossing is, it's time to be enlightened. Animal Crossing is a series of cozy life sims originating on the GameCube, where you live a somewhat normal life, as you're the only human in a town of silly anthropomorphic animals. For example, here's Isabelle. Her head is a bell, and a bell is the form of currency in these games. And this is Tom Nook. His name originates from the Japanese raccoon dog, or tanuki. Get it? Tom Nook. Tanuki. Would you have guessed that this is the creature responsible for putting you in crippling debt after borderline manipulating and extorting you into buying a house he knows you can't afford? What a silly game, am I right? The worldwide lockdown as a result of COVID-19 led to everyone and their grandmas picking up a copy of New Horizons, as they had literally nothing better to do. Unfortunately, I'm not everyone and didn't pick it up during lockdown, though I did get obsessed with it last year, eventually buying it and playing it every single day. My school marks had never been lower. If you couldn't already tell my opinions by how I'm describing it, then you'd be honestly bamboozled to know that I really like it. This game is genuinely lovely, as it's a different experience for everyone, and it's unique to you, which is kind of what the last sentence meant. You start off with a character customizer, which is straightforward and accessible for everyone, though I'm really annoyed that it doesn't have glasses as an accessory off the bat, because it is in its own separate category, which you can unlock later. I think it took me like a few weeks to actually get glasses. The first thing I could get was a DIY recipe, but these are fine for what they are. The game does a great job at rationalizing the reasons for both your power over the island and the reliance on you from your villagers in your everyday activities, as the game establishes you as the resident representative. This title is a great new way to rationalize your power and control over everything without making you a full-on mayor like in the previous installments. The game allows everyone to play it at their own pace, restricting burnout, which is a big problem with this series. But something that I think needs to be mentioned is the music. Kazumi, we have this little cozy life sim game. Would you be able to throw a few songs together for it? Are you sure? I named my quaint island town Mordor, like the fictional fiery hellscape from Lord of the Rings. It's even more ironic that I started my town in winter, which means that everything was absolutely covered in snow, which, talking about snow, we can't talk about this game without the weather and seasons. Seasons line up perfectly with the current seasons in where you live normally. That makes sense. Because I live in Australia, there's no snow, but I got to see snow for the first time in Animal Crossing. It's always hilarious listening to the villagers say, "Wow, Mordor is so nice this time of year." But I haven't played this game in a long time, so I think it's time I revisit the old stomping grounds, so let's take a tour. First thing back in town, and I have Bedhead. My tour begins in my house, which features a variety of unusual rooms, but they're not terribly furnished. My first room that I enter is my bedroom, and I do believe this is the peak of furnishing. Then we have my back room, which I don't know what I was planning for this room. I think it was mainly just an overflow of extra things that I kinda managed to put into a theme. Then I have my main living area, and oh my god. Oh no. Who summoned the devil? Oh no. I never said Gale 3 times. Oh no. Why did she come here? I didn't. I'm sitting on my couch. You just walked into my house. Let's cook up something on the stove. And you're leaving? You say one thing about cooking and you just straight up leave? That's great, buddy. Okay, but back to my tour. With the tour of my house finished, it's time to take my quick and easy accessible warp pipe, and I teleport to the complete other side of the island. You can see my lovely paving next to my well-planted trees, but that entire aesthetic is ruined by Snooty. As you can see, this ugly abomination to everything. We follow the path to— oh, no, never mind, I'm going off track. Why am I going this way? Okay, well, okay, we're talking to someone, that's good. Okay, yeah? Well, I did like this guy. This is Clobberpuss. Back to the path— okay, never mind. And I just climbed the cliff. Now we get to Rolf's house, I think it was. This is one of the newest villages I received before putting Animal Crossing down for good. But now to my farm, and boy, does this only have the necessities. Then we have the super mushrooms to increase your plants. But if your plants die, don't worry, we have 1-up mushrooms. They'll never die again. And don't worry, I'm pretty sure once in a show I heard them say that singing makes plants grow faster, so they have to listen to the endless torment of literally all the gyroids I have. Then we keep going down. And this is literally the only part of my island terraformed, because I didn't want to ruin the natural aesthetic, and the only reason I put this here is because I didn't want to spend money on a bridge. Making my way downtown, walking fast, racing past, and I'm homebound. Oh, and then remembering, yep, I had mail. Let's go check the mail. I did not have as much mail as I thought I would have. I thought I would have a heck ton, but no. Myself, 2 villagers, and the literal bank. I'm sorry. Huh? Clearly I don't have many friends. Jeez. But continuing my way back down the way I was going, and I reached one of my first village's houses, and this was the house of— pause as I Google the name. It was Quinn. From here I check out the campsite I made, the airport, which I recently learned can be different colors. I have an orange one, which I'm pretty sure looks the coolest. And then from the campsite, went up into the town hall area. And boy, did I see a face I didn't remember. Yep. Who the hell are you? Ah, Portia, that's right. I did not remember you. Oh my gosh. Seems like you've raided my wardrobe when I went, and I'm pretty sure I had beef with you, because when I go to your house later, there's a thwomp in front of it. crazy. Moving past, then we go to my absolute favorite villager, and wait, whoa, Goose? What? No, Goose, no, you're not leaving. What? Why? No, don't go. What? This is... I'm getting emotional. Why would he consider, like, why is this so perfectly timed, first of all? And second, why would he want to leave? He was the best, my best friend. I am very lonely. Moving past that traumatic experience, and we go to my actually kind of sorted out part of the island. Then we move along to one of my favorite villages, which was Rorey. I go across, where I go back up and visit Gale. I'm so upset I can't hit her with an axe. This is really depressing. I move up to the Able sisters. These two I spent a lot of time with. Apparently I spent so much time with it that now Sable actually talks to me, which I know happens after a while, but I did not remember that I had unlocked that achievement, so that's pretty cool. Now we go to the museum, where Blathers, my man, he talks way too much. Continuing along, we're just gonna come back to him later. We move along to Nook's Cranny, and boy, this was the place I went a lot. I spent so much time with Timmy and Tommy. They were two of my favorite characters from the entire franchise. Today, my two favorite people were selling a ping pong table, and recently I'd played ping pong and I was like, this is pretty dope, and I realized I can't see my money. 80,000 bells, jeez, I grinded this game. In this weird alleyway near the back of his museum. This is where Brewster lives. He sells me coffee. Because I'm watching this in 2x speed, it's really funny watching my hands go back and forth. It looks like I don't need any more caffeine, I'm moving that fast. Finally, we go on to the town hall, where we meet Isabelle and Tom Nook. But I still can't believe I have to say this, but Isabelle, you screwed me over. 4 stars is not enough. My town is perfect. Yeah. What are you saying? I need corresponding scenery? Shut the heck. We don't even need to talk to Tom Nook. That man doesn't deserve our time. But we go straight to the computer. Let's see how much money we have. What? And we have 135,536 bells. My gosh. Adding the total that we also had in our inventory, and we have a total of 215,957 bells. Boy, I grinded this game way too much. But that's the end of our tour so far, so, well, goodbye. Overall, this game is great, with an unmatchable charm, and I think that's why this franchise has become so popular. COVID was probably a significant contributor to why this game is actually so high on this list. I think this game deserves the placing, but it still isn't without its flaws. I find it really frustrating that glasses aren't, available off the bat, which I mentioned earlier, but I feel like is just still very necessary. And it's not that bad, I can live without it, but there is one big problem. Saving, moving, and restarting your town. It's such a big hassle and really scary. They just need to make that improved, and the next game will be number 1, I guess, unless Mario Kart World beats it. And restarting a save file. If you could just keep all your villager interactions or the idea of your town and just go and start a new one, that'd be so much better than having to delete everything and restart. This starting again system is one of the reasons that I haven't made a video on Animal Crossing, because I wanted to for a while, and I just don't want to say goodbye to Mordor. With all that aside, Animal Crossing is still a great game, and very much deserved its place on this list. Speaking of which, Villager also deserved his place in... Super Smash Bros. Is a love letter to every franchise that lends a representative, and it has one of the most dedicated fan bases that I've ever seen. The game is genuinely fun to play for casual and competitive players alike, and that was Sakurai's dream. The franchise started with just a variety of different Nintendo characters crossing over to beat the heck out of each other. And it has since been well known for its introduction of different, unique mechanics that have become staples of fighting games. Fighter-unique attacks and stage hazards are just 2 of the, big things that Smash added to the fighting game genre. And it also changed the goal of the genre, as most fighting games from the time were intending to just be, you have a certain amount of health and you have to beat each other up with combos and etc. But Smash Bros. Had an aim of raising someone's HP before knocking them into the atmosphere or getting them to fall off the stage. Starting as a Nintendo-only crossover, it has since gained third-party fighters, which have become a staple of the franchise. Despite Smash only having 4 games, each game has improved on the roster, mechanics, and has overall improved the gameplay, leading to the Smash Ultimate we have today. Smash Ultimate, upon release, was the biggest fighting game ever to exist, as everyone was there. But soon the development team decided that everyone wasn't enough, so they added more fighters in the wave of DLC. Smash Ultimate has a plethora of different modes, that being Worlds of Light, the story mode, Classic mode, and Smash mode, which is just the regular fighting game with customizable settings that you can do to basically play however you want to play. While Smash Ultimate does have a story mode, that being Worlds of Light, it's really long, and if I played it for this video, I would end up not being finished till like December 2027, so I opted to go with playing Classic mode and seeing how far I could get, which wasn't very far. Classic mode consists of you choosing one main fighter as you battle against a variety of different fighters, seeing how far you can make it. So, I decided to start with my main. He's the mayor of Mordor. He's the thing of nightmares. It's Villager! On a difficulty of 3.5, this crime to your eyes will plant seeds of fear in your brain before watering them and turning it into a tree in seconds! One very confusing battle later, and Villager is being tag-teamed by Pokemon Trainer. The battle was quick because I played out of my freaking mind, and also Ivysaur wasn't part of Team Trees. Yeah. The Earthbound buddies were sent to space before Villager's lunch kept Dr. Mario away. The doc, soon in hospital, prescribed Villager to the gym where he was attacked by Wii Fit trainers. Female Wii Fit trainer died easily, but male Wii Fit trainer got him up to 108% fueled by pure rage. Male Wii Fit trainer fell with ease compared to the true Nightmare Bringer, Isabelle, who I didn't die to. I died to her blue shell, which she threw. There's a difference. Finally overcoming that demon that kept me at 4 stars. Like, shut up Isabelle, I have trees! I finally faced the hand. I literally blasted through the credits and ended my run there. Overall, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the definitive Smash game for casual players, as competitive players won't let Melee die. So with that, Smash Bros. Definitely earned its spot on this list, in the top 3 of course. And with that, wait, I think someone's... Breath of the Wild, the only game on this list that I didn't own prior to recording this video. I have admired the art style of this game and the stories and basically everything about these games from a distance, but I've never had the courage to actually dive in and play one, until now. Breath of the Wild is once again a game ported directly from the Wii U, and is the first open-world Zelda game. Initially my plans were to beat it all, but after playing for I think around 3 hours, I've just beaten the Great Plateau, so to get this video out in time, that's just what I'm going to describe. Basically, the game starts like many others, on nothing. I opened the game and all I saw was black. Like nothing else. Then there was light. Just like the Lego Batman movie said, every good movie starts with black. Then light appears. I don't remember how the saying goes, but that's probably it. Then you hear Zelda calling out to you, Link, wake up, etc., etc. And eventually you do. The cutscenes in this game are immaculate, as you get to see Hyrule's favourite chatterbox in all their glory. We move out of the Shrine of Resurrection and out into the Great Plateau. From there we see an old man who's kinda just chilling there. I called him Santa Claus when I was playing, or Old Man, or Santa Claus. Mainly those two interchangeably, because Old Man is what they call him and Santa Claus is what he looks like. So, I chase after the old man. I get attacked by a bokoblin, so I just go stabby stabby with this stick I found. Ain't that lovely? Until I reach this mound of rocks in like this opening with a Sheikah slate on it, tapping it with my Credit card, that's right. I'd like 1 tower, please. Wait, what's happening? I'm finally at the top of a tower, and I can see literally everything. He tells me that I can scout out a bunch of shrines from the vantage point, so I head to the first one. And he's like, wow, that's cool. Here, I have this thing called a glider. You want it? Find 4 spirit orbs and, well, it's yours. That's right, you get 1 for the price of 4. Wait, that's not a deal. Because I know fair decent about this game, I have passed a few guardians on the way, and boy is it scary. Cause I know they're very scary in the real game, and currently they're just kinda all dead lying around. And that freaking scares me, cause I'm waiting for one of them to just jump up and jump scare me. I actually loot one of their corpses, my bad, and then I make my way to the shrine. That shrine is the first shrine where I learn how to basically move metal objects with my mind, well, actually with my pad kind of thing. Yeah, it takes me about 30 minutes to do a shrine, basically travel time included, so that's pretty decent. So I make my way to the next shrine, where I unlock freeze time thingy on certain objects. After that, I go to my next shrine where I learn bombing things, and then finally I learn water freeze. But this water freeze one took me so long to actually get to that shrine. They put it in like the middle of this like mountain cold area. It was like really cold. Once I finally got there, killing a bunch of bokoblins on the way. But what is this guy? I'm sorry. This guy was just guarding outside. Not unrelated from the shrine, but this guy was just kind of outside. Really scary. Just kind of one-tapped me. I was like, hee hee, fire. You can't kill me. And he goes, yeah. And I was like, bleh. I get what is water freeze. So I make ice go up. So I finish the shrine, get my next and 4th spirit orb, and finally Santa Claus comes down from the sky with his paraglider, like, wee, donk, hoo hoo hoo. If you want your paraglider, you're gonna have to find me, hoo hoo hoo. I'm gonna be at this place. I think I need to tell you something. And then it's like, bye, he kinda just vanishes. Weird guy. What's his problem, am I right? I meet him in the Temple of Time. Zelda reference. He's like, well, guess what? I've been lying to you this entire time. I'm not Santa Claus, I'm the really hard name to pronounce Hyrule, King of Hyrule. And I got a really long monologue.
The great calamity was merciless. It devastated every stated path. Lo, a century ago, it was then that my life was taken away from me.
Really interesting when I was actually playing it. Just
So rather than that, I thought it best to assume a temporary form.
okay. Finally, he gives us the paraglider, and he's like, yep, I'm gonna disappear now. I can finally fly out of the building and then fly down into the general off-Great Plateau area. Like the Hyrulean Fields, I don't remember what it's called. The Great Plateau section is a great demonstrator of the game. What I've played so far of this game, it's wonderful. Charming art style and really fun. The story is intriguing, and I don't think I've played a game with this great of a story. It's really interesting. This game is overall really fun, and I would recommend it. But let's move on to the 5th and last game on our list, and that is
Super Mario Odyssey!
The last game on this list is Super Mario Odyssey, and it is a great game, and no other game deserves to be on this list more. But I kinda already have a video on this game, and I don't really want to take this time up, because I think this section deserves to go to something that I think is good. To be fair, this is my channel, and like I don't think you'd be watching this far if you didn't somewhat care about my opinion. So I think it's only fair if I choose one of the games that I think is the best game on the Switch. Well, one of them at least. The problem is it's hard to choose just one, as I was going over earlier. I could ask the person closest to me, but that's my brother, and he would say EAFC, and that game sucks. If I said the game I'm playing through in my free time, I'd say Cuphead, but the problem is I don't think that's enough of a Switch game. Well, it's a game on Switch, but it's not a game that adapts itself because it's on Switch. Like, I feel like the game on Switch needs to be either unique to Switch, or do something different because it's on Switch. So I feel like that just rules out a lot of third-party games. Though, I feel like I know what game needs to go here. Miitopia. Miitopia is the best game on Switch, if not one of them. This game, yes, it was ported from the 3DS, though it being on Switch improved it in every way, shape or form. Aside from better graphics, it also has extra post-game content, as well as an entirely new makeup system. But the makeup system allows you to further customize your Miis post their initial birth, if that's what you can call it. Conception, creation. doesn't matter. There's more customization, so it allows people to make even weirder Miis. Miis just used to be even like somewhat people looking, but now they're crazy. Miitopia sold 1.79 million copies, which would technically place it 68th, but I don't care, this game is peak. My copy of Miitopia has French box art, which isn't relevant, I just thought it was funny. And Miitopia has the best story in all of gaming, as it stars you, or literally anyone you want it to be. The main gimmick of Miitopia is that you choose every single character in the story, and for my story, I chose myself as the star. Our story begins one peaceful day, as a lone traveler is venturing out into the wilderness in search of meaning. He was going about his travels until he caught a glimpse of what looked like eyes floating in the air. These disembodied eyes floated about around him until they merged with a harmless butterfly, creating a dangerous monster. Defenseless, I knew not what to do, so I ran. Thankfully, I spied a nearby town where I could stay the night. As I approached, I learned that I was entering the town of Greenhorn in the Eason Hills. I ran to the first sign of a person and, calmly, warned them about the troubles I'd encountered previously. The man who stood in front of me was none other than Danny DeVito, who laughed at my unbelievable story. I left Danny and kept walking down the town, where Morgan Freeman spoke to me joyfully, saying how I should smile more, but I just walked past him because that was strange. Tom Holland ran up to me saying, "I'm Spider-Man," but I just dismissed his claims and went to his father Robert Downey Jr. to tell him of the monsters that I had encountered, but Robert interrupted me and apologized for his son's behavior, but before I could talk, he had run off again to help him. As I continued to walk down the street, I heard the whisperings of lovey-dovey couple Emily Blunt and John Korinsky, speaking of their love for blind monsters. As I passed the couple, I approached Hugh Jackman, who questioned me about why I was in Greenhorn. I reluctantly answered him, but then when I saw the mayor, I ran off to go talk to Mayor Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel introduced himself, but before I could talk, a loud crack filled the sky. The residents of Greenhorn peered upwards as the all-powerful Rorey shower looked down on them. The tint in his glasses was colouring his menacing eyes in evil blood red. The sky was a misty dark purple, and the sun was covered. "I've come to wreak havoc and terror on this miserable little world, and I'm starting with you, people of Greenhorn. It's time for your first taste of true fear. Say goodbye to your faces." The town was left in a purple, endless night, while those still with faces stood in fear. I went and asked what I could do to help around. Robert begged me to help find his son Face, offering to give me an antique charm. I agreed and foolishly set out with nothing but the amulet. As I ran out of town, I was confronted by Rorey. I demanded Tom's face back, which Rorey summoned from the sky, but just like earlier, the face merged with harmless slime in the form of a mini Slime Holland. The Dark Lord left, pleased by his evil deeds. As the slime lunged at me, Robert's amulet began to glow, and I heard a voice coming from inside. Angelic music played, and I closed my eyes, feeling myself leave my body behind. When I opened my eyes, I heard the voice clearer now, and found myself in a white void with blue accents. It was almost heaven-like. Well, with that, I died. Game over, 1 out of 10, not enough death. The voice spoke to me, but before covering me in the armor of a warrior, and I was transported back to the mortal world, face to face with the slime. I prepared for an attack. Drawing my sword, I swung at the slime, successfully knocking it back, but Mini Slime Holland lunged forward at me, hitting me with its forehead, though I saw that it was hanging on for its life, so stabbing forward at the slime, it melted into a puddle. The face lifted off into the sky, and Tom Holland cried for joy. I hastily returned to Greenhorn and saw that Tom Holland's face had returned to his body. Robert rewarded me with 200 gold. I stood there pondering my deed and my newfound power, when I was spoken to again by God.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Wonderful, just wonderful. Now then, Rorey, my child. I have another task for you.
You do?
you've seen the deeds of the Dark Lord Pori Shower. He's made quite a mess, and that's just putting it mildly. And so I must ask you,
I didn't hesitate to accept. My first mission was over, and my quest was now clear. I knew I had to set off and save the world of Metopia and defeat the evil Pori Shower. I knew I must return the faces of the people in Greenhorn as a start, and warn the king about Pori's deeds. I left town that day with a mission in my heart, and a sword in my hand. On my quest, I slayed many beasts, among the likes of goblins, golems, slimes, and sirens, while returning the faces to many. During my search for the faces of the townsfolk, I met many allies who joined my cause, the likes of Gandalf the White Wizard, Father Shrek the Cleric, and Pop Royalty Super Mario, all joined my quest and shared my burden. However, upon their arrival to the castle, they found that the king's face had been taken, so they immediately set out to try and retrieve it. A hard battle was fought to retrieve the face, as the Fellowship barely made it out alive, though upon our turn, we weren't met by a welcoming castle, as the Dark Lord's minions had overrun it. The group saved the castle before finding that Princess Highground's face was missing. Her fiancé Anakin fled in fear, while the love of her life, Obi-Wan, charged off to the newly erected tower to save her. The group followed him, facing a plethora of stronger enemies such as imps, slimes, and nerd goblins. Oh, wait, they're called mage goblins? Sorry. You can just tell they're nerds because everyone who wears glasses is a nerd. Wait, where'd my camera turn on? Finally, the gang beat one of Pori's generals, freeing Highground's face. I returned to the castle with Obi-Wan to see that the princess was fine. With the Easen Hills saved, the group wanted to rest on our laurels, but I knew that our mission to stop the Dark Lord Pori Shower was urgent, so together, we journeyed across the arid frontier on the outer Easen Hills and finally stayed in the last inn before next door. I sure hope nothing bad happens, wink wink nudge nudge. That was just the first world of Metopia, and the start of a quirky, light-hearted story that literally anyone could love. I would not recommend any game more than I would this one. The amount of hours you can just spend making me's is crazy on its own, and if you're not willing to spend money, which I personally understand, then Metopia has a free demo on the eShop, so you're crazy not to download it. Metopia is a peak game and deserves to be on this list. So that's it, the final game, and you probably thought this video would be over, but it's not, because I have one last thing I need to say. Well, a lot of you watched my last two videos and said, how is the Switch dead? And well, to that I reply with one simple response, I guess. That the Switch isn't dead and they'll still work perfectly, but the era of Nintendo is now over. The Switch 2 era is graphically better and bringing the company into a whole new phase of existence. Sounds like it's dying. The other day, nearly every Mario character got a new render approaching world's release, which has already released by the time of my recording this. And it looks great. And I don't know why anyone would want to play Mario Kart 8 after looking at this. Though after my previous comments, I think this is kind of contradictory. But the games look so different in comparison, but when you look at it, it's like the Switch all over again. Mario Kart 8 was a graphical marvel, compared to other Mario Kart games, which were never stunning or visually appealing. And now, Mario Kart World looks wonderful. All the characters have new renders and are in the highest quality I can think of. And all the games I mentioned are now just so much better, and they all run so much better than they did on the console they were designed for. Except for the ones that were ported from the Wii U, which run even better than the consoles they were designed for. But aside from all that, this console is still great. It runs well, has great-ish graphics, and has the best library of games a console could have asked for. But now I think it's time for us to say our final goodbye. With that, if you're not already subscribed, then please consider switching that subscribe button to a somber grey in this time of mourning. All your support is greatly appreciated, as it helps me make more silly, I mean sad videos like this one. So thank you again, and have a powerful day. Bye bye.